Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an opinion piece that was published in USA Today. It's written by Dr. Marc Siegel, who's an opinion columnist, and I think he should just stick to medicine and shut up and keep his opinions to himself. Because this guy has no clue about this country. As you'll see as we get into the article here. Oh, excuse me. What does COVID immunity get me? Not much. The government should catch up to the science. Oh, you mean the same government that's been spouting bullshit science like wearing 4 fucking masks? Yeah, okay. Vaccination or proof of immunity from COVID infection has been a ticket to reopening Israeli society. Why aren't we following that model in America? That's the lead into this. Do you want to know why we're not following that model in America? You supposedly educated man here, doctor? Do you want to know why? Because it's unconstitutional. Because we have a right to freely travel in this country. Pretty much all of the things that have been done in the name of the lockdowns are unconstitutional. But you don't care about constitutionality because you're like, we should get permission from the government to go about our lives. No, we should just go about our lives and tell the government to fuck off. But this guy, he's seeking approval from his government masters. Anyway, let's get into this opinion piece and see what Dr. Siegel, doctor is a term I'm using lightly here because I'm guessing he probably got his degree at a third world medical school or in the Caribbean or some shit. Or the Caribbean, sorry. One of my patients, age 45, doesn't remember having had COVID, but he has the antibodies to prove it, and the amounts are quite high. Well, here's the thing. He could have had another coronavirus, and those antibodies could be effective against it. Because the coronavirus is one of those viruses that gives you the common cold. But hey, whatever. He is happy to have the immune protection while having dodged the clinical bullet. Another patient, 20 years older, obese, and at risk of complications, developed double pneumonia, but recovered with the help of a monoclonal antibody infusion against the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Yeah? So what? These guys are immune. You're trying to use this to push this thing of the government needs to start giving us permission because look at these guys, these are immune. Well, we don't need their permission. We should just go about our lives. Anyway, what do these two patients have in common? They have both developed antibodies and a degree of immunity against the virus. A recent report from the National Institute of Health showed that this immunity can last for at least 8 months. Oh, longer than that. But that's the thing. They want us to keep getting, a vaccine. That's what this is about. This is about the fact of conditioning us to getting jab after jab after jab for something that has a 95 to 99.7 or 99.9, recovery rate, depending on your age. But hey, just ignore that. What is still needed is a better lab test for this immunity, as well as permission for the COVID recovered to go places unrestricted. First off, they don't need permission. We have a right to freely travel in this country, asshole. This guy's an idiot. He's a doctor, but he's completely clueless about, what our rights are and what the government can and can't do. Anyway, the science backs this up, even if the government doesn't yet offer its permission slip. First off, the government doesn't offer permission slips. Okay? The government works for us. At least it's supposed to. Okay? We don't seek permission from it. It seeks permission from us, or at least that's how it's supposed to operate. This delay in translating evolving science into policy while leaving punitive restrictions in place has been a big problem throughout the pandemic. Well, it's all unconstitutional. You get places like Texas and now Arizona and Mississippi that did it with Texas. I think it was Mississippi. But multiple states are now going back to business as usual, lifting all the restrictions. Why? Because this is basically the common cold on steroids. Okay? Because of the COVID virus, okay, it's wiped out flu. There's pretty much non-existent cases of flu during flu season because it's all being labeled as woo flu. I mean, seriously. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, now mind you, this is not my opinion, YouTube, okay? I'm not questioning the science. A doctor is. I'm just questioning his concepts about the fact about permission and stuff like that. And I'm stating actual statistics, okay, about survivability here. So piss off. I mean, this is ridiculous. All right. You know, these punitive restrictions in place, you mean these, unconstitutional restrictions, but whatever. All right. Translate science into policy faster. Considering that as of a week ago, over 20% of Americans and close to 50% of those 65 and over have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Consider that as of a week ago. Okay, so what? He brings this up like it means something. All right, and it's not exactly a well-written, complete sentence, but whatever. Consider that as of a week ago, over 27 Americans and close to 50% of those 65 and over have received at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, yep. Consider that we have. This is sure to have an impact and create pockets of community immunity. Well, here's the thing: before that was even happening, the numbers started dropping. So now we're getting vaccinated when the numbers were already dropping, and now you're trying to give credit to the vaccine for this. And say, well, it's created community, a pocket of community immunity. Whatever, dude. Over 80% of the COVID deaths in the United States occurred in patients 65 and over. Yes, in nursing homes, okay, in states like New York and Michigan. I love how you leave that convenient, that convenient bit of information that puts things into context out here. Because those were the Democrats that were forcing infected people into the nursing homes, like, those Democrats like Whitmer and sleazy fucking pervert Cuomo. Cuomo. The COVID vaccines have been shown to dramatically decrease severity of illness, and more data demonstrate that they decrease viral load and transmission. Bullshit. Bullshit. Go look at what Ben Stein has said. He had a very violent reaction to this. They're trying to make it sound like, well, no one's having, it's doing this and that. No, not really. Not everyone. Ben Stein is now regretting getting the damn thing. I'm thinking, by the way, the reaction he had. I mean, this is so sad. These people are pushing this. Like, you got to get the vaccine. At least this guy's saying that, we should be able to get back to normal. But he's saying we need to get the government's permission. No, you tell the government, fuck you. I ain't doing this anymore. What's the government going to do to you? Enough people do that. The government's going to go, oh shit, we can't do a damn thing. That's all it takes is enough people to say, screw you. Okay, we shouldn't be seeking permission. You're a doctor. You should have more intelligence than you appear to have. I mean, this guy's an idiot. I mean, literally saying that getting the vaccination somehow decreases the illness. That makes absolutely no sense, because most people have had a reaction to it, get sick. How is that decreasing things? That makes no sense. Anyway, well over 2 million Americans are now being vaccinated daily, and this number is about to increase as Johnson & Johnson shipped out 4 million doses of its newly available vaccine on Monday. The single-dose vaccine, which can be stored in a refrigerator for 3 months, has been shown to be 85% effective against severe disease and 100% effective against hospitalization and death with a single shot. Yeah, Anyway, why isn't the government keeping up with the science and translating it immediately into policy? Because, first off, you dumb shit, you lefty elitist scumbag, because I'm assuming that's what you are, by the way you're writing this, okay? Biden and his handlers, the globalists and people like Xi Jinping, do not want the United States to open back up. Use your brain. I mean, hell, obviously you had enough of a brain, even if it was at a Caribbean medical school, you graduated from medical school. You had enough of a brain to do that. Now use it for critical thinking. Oh my God. I mean, this is ridiculous. Anyway, consider a new Harvard study of 1.2 million people in Israel, close to half of whom have received the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. After 2 doses, the vaccine was found to be just as effective for adults over 70 as for younger people, with 94% reduction in symptomatic COVID-19 and 87% reduction in hospitalization, and importantly, prevention of 92% of all documented infections. Well, You know what? I don't trust these guys because I don't trust the numbers. I really don't. I don't trust those numbers. We don't know this, okay? Do you think Israel is going to be honest about this shit? Of course they aren't. They're reopening up. They're trying to create this persona of, oh, everything's hunky-dory. Well, they're reopening shit. Because they're fine with that narrative of like, you know, you need the vaccine in that. They don't want to say, hey, you know, this stuff is like the common cold or a little bit more severe and no one's getting flu, supposedly because it's all being done at COVID. They don't want to point these things out. I mean, this is ridiculous. But anyway, so of all documented infections, even at a time in Israel when the UK, B117 highly transmissible variant was surging. Yes, but it might be more transmissible, but it's still like getting a severe cold. 95 to 99.9% survival rate. You have a better survival rate with coronavirus than you do with the common, you know, everyday run-of-the-mill flu. Anyway. But these results, published in the prestigious New England Journal of Medicine, did not lead to an immediate change in policy here, as they did in Israel. In fact, the CDC had planned to issue guidance for vaccinated people Thursday, but is holding it up. Why do you think that is? This is about control. This is about why do you think, okay, when you have the numbers dropping dramatically in Texas, you have Biden, okay, with a hand up his ass, moving his mouth like a fucking puppet going, that's Neanderthal thinking. You should be listening to me and doing what I want you to do. Okay, you should be listening to an academic who hasn't done a goddamn work in the medical field itself in 40 fucking years. I mean, I'm exaggerating with Fauci, but that's what they're basically saying. Fauci is supposedly an expert when he hasn't practiced medicine in like 30 whatever years it is. Okay, this is the same guy telling us to wear 4 masks that the second the cameras go off, he gets caught by, you know, a camera he didn't realize was still on, taking his mask off on more than one occasion. Anyway, in Israel, meanwhile, vaccination or proof of immunity from infection has become a ticket to reopening society. We could just reopen society. We don't need the government's permission. We shouldn't have even shut down in the first place for this. A so-called green passport now allows Israelis admission into gyms, shopping malls, and restaurants, and to travel to Greece and Cyprus, which, you know, you would think, okay, Israel, Jews, you would think the Jews might have a problem with, show me your papers, please. You think they would have a fucking problem with that. You'd think they would look at history and go, you know, the Israeli people, the Jewish people would go, yeah, that didn't work out the last time a government wanted us to have to show papers. I mean, I understand it's Jews that are doing it, but that never worked out well. You would think that would go through these Israeli, you know, the average Israeli citizen's mind. You seriously would think that. They'd go, I mean, shit, if I was in Israel, I'd be like, yeah, I might have a problem with that. And they'd be like, well, what do you mean? I'd be like, well, considering you're doing what the Nazis did to us, I'll have no part of it. I mean, this is ridiculous to get to travel to Greece and Cyprus. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, Iceland allows travelers to present passports in lieu of quarantine or testing requirements. Why can't we? Why was I compelled to show a negative PCR test result to get into Madison Square Garden to see a basketball game with a socially distanced crowd when I could have shown my proof of vaccine card from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention? Because that would be illegal, because what you are talking about violates the Constitution, having them give you a permission slip, having them giving you your papers so that you can travel. You are allowed to travel freely and conduct your life without papers. That's part of the Constitution, you dumb shit. This guy's an idiot. He truly is. And he's a doctor. I would never, ever get treated by this freaking idiot. Seriously. The science is showing that vaccination or recovery from COVID, or both, are far more reliable indicators than a negative COVID test, which can easily be done at the wrong time in the disease process. I'm sorry for laughing, but he's saying, oh, well, testing negative isn't good enough. You need to get your papers. This guy is promoting the idea of the government dictating what you can and can't do, and you getting your papers from creepy, sleepy Uncle Joe and Kamala, okay, before you can go about your life. Get bent, you piece of shit. Seriously, dude. I would never, ever, ever let you treat me. Because you, as a doctor, you're a fucking idiot. All of this shit is a low IQ take. It is literally a low IQ take. So I don't know how the hell you passed medical school. All right, I would rather have an Indian dude fresh off the plane who's a doctor that I can barely understand treat me. Okay, that went to, like like the best medical school in India, or even a mid-tier, then have you treat me. I'd rather have a doctor from the third world treat me. I'm serious about that. Then go near you, buddy. Consider public health, not politics. How about we consider the Constitution shipwreck? Critics of the so-called vaccine passport say that rewarding immunity is a way of penalizing those who aren't yet immune. Exactly. While this may be a fair point, it's imperative to look at this more from a purely public health perspective. Who is at risk and who is putting others at risk? Well, this is the thing. You are literally trying to use this idea of them having to require the government saying, wanting the government to give us papers. You're literally trying to use that to shame people, okay, to basically intimidate people, to try to coerce people into getting vaccinated. Because if they don't have their papers and they can't go about their lives, okay, it kind of incentivizes them going and putting an experimental, quote unquote, vaccine, which a vaccine is usually, is either a dead or weakened strain of a virus, okay, that's put into your body to give you immunity. It is not some, genetic altering material. That's not a virus. That's gene therapy, you dumb shit. You're altering someone's RNA. That is literally gene therapy. Quick call. You're a doctor. You should know this is not a vaccine. But yet you're looking at this and going, hey, this will cause people to go and get it. You're a scumbag, dude. You are such a low IQ piece of shit. It's not even funny. How the hell did you get a medical degree? If you are in the rapidly growing immune group, you are much less likely to spread or get sick from the virus. This is the public health bottom line. It doesn't mean it's time to throw away your mask or to resume gathering in crowds, but it does mean that you can see grandma, especially if both of you have been vaccinated. Oh, give me a break. You're going to bring in grandma on this one too, dude? You sleazy scumbag. All right. And no, if you've been vaccinated and you're supposedly immune, that means you can throw away the mask, you dumb shit. That's always been the rule. If you are immune, you're immune. That means you can get rid of the mask. I love how they keep they've moved the goalpost about like everything with disease, with friggin' coronavirus. It's like, you're taught all these things like in high school biology and college biology and stuff like that, okay? So you're not ignorant, but then they expect you to be ignorant and not realize that they're moving the goalpost. It's so disgusting how stupid they think people are. And this guy's an idiot. So anyway, I don't know why this says COVID model. No schools can't open like the NFL. It's much more complicated than that. Bullshit. Anyway, a public health perspective includes more than just the ravages of the virus. It must consider the loneliness and isolation that have been caused by the efforts to control it. Well, then, how about we be like Texas with the rest of the country and we open shit up, we let people go and decide to practice what they consider, necessary, and we just allow people to live their fucking lives. That'd be real easy, wouldn't it? Because this is the thing, this is about the fact of creating the situation. That's what this whole thing was about. It's about the Great Reset, you dumb shit. But you're too stupid to realize this. Anyway, sometimes these efforts are effective, especially when they are imposed in advance of viral spread. But sometimes they are excessive and cause greater harm than good. Really? Well, Florida didn't lock down, and Florida, with a much older population, okay, bitch slapped California on the note of, who's doing better? Okay, Florida has done better than a lot of states in this country and didn't lock shit down. Okay, I have family, elderly family in Florida, like my father, for example. Okay, 84 years old. He's perfectly healthy. Only time he puts on a mask is when he goes to the doctor's office to appease the whiny little bitch. And he basically said it that way. He doesn't swear, but he put it much nicer. He basically was like, yeah, he's a whiny little, basically saying he's a whiny little bitch. So I put on the mask to shut him the hell up. But he's like, the second I walk out, I'm taking it off as I'm opening the door, walking out. And that's how a lot of old people in Florida have been. And they've got better numbers than California, who locked the ever-loving shit down out of the state. But hey, they're doing better and they didn't lock shit down. But hey, we need to lock shit down. We need to do this. And we need to get permission from the government. This is what a guy who claims to be a doctor is claiming. Again, I think this guy got his degree from a Caribbean medical school. Just saying. And if you're admitting that that they're sometimes excessive and cause greater harm than good, and that's what this case has been here, why aren't you just saying we should reopen and allow people to use their best judgment instead of going, they need to get permission from the government? What a little weasel. Anyway, there is an epidemic of depression and anxiety here to match the COVID pandemic created by the authoritarian measures for something that has a 95 to 99.9% survival rate depending on age. Go figure. Our government has made many promises it hasn't kept. We must not allow the vaccine to become another political weapon. We need to use our immunity as a bridge to reopen society and overcome our depression and isolation now before it's too late. No, how about we just tell the government to piss the fuck off, okay, and we reopen society? If states did that and told creepy sleeping Uncle Joe and Kamala and his globalist shit bricks that are in his cabinet and all the people that have their hands up their ass on the note of the globalist elites, okay, and foreign leaders like Xi Jinping, if we told them all to go fuck themselves, they can't do shit. So instead of going, we need to seek permission from the government, we need to go and get vaccinated and get a permission slip, need to get our papers so we can reopen society. Instead of doing that, how about you be a man instead of a soy boy, okay, and say, yeah, all right, as long as we take certain, you're a doctor, you should know this, it's common sense. As long as you take certain precautions, okay, you're not going to kill grandma. Especially with something that's like the code. Because if your grandma's getting vitamin D, odds are she's not going to get really sick. I mean, this is ridiculous. Anyway, if there is a tangible incentive to take the vaccine in terms of restaurants, gyms, movie theaters, and travel, then many more people will do so. See, this is the thing. He's trying to use the fact of holding the carrot. He's saying, hold the carrot of going back to normal, being able to go to a restaurant, being able to go to a movie theater, okay, or the gym, okay, holding that carrot out there, using that to basically coerce people to go and get a vaccine, okay? What gets me is you had a little thing over in Nuremberg, okay, after World War II and what the Nazis did, where they talked about informed consent. The United States signed on to this thing, okay? The Nuremberg Principles, because I'm having a brain fart, I think it's the Nuremberg Principles. I think that's wrong. But it talks about informed consent. That's not informed consent. When you are dangling people's lives, you piece of shit, out in front of them like a carrot, and they're a donkey, okay, to get them to get a vaccine, or I should say, to get them to get gene therapy. Okay, that is not informed consent, but you want that used. You are a doctor. You took an oath to do no harm. How is what you are doing with that not causing harm? Because I hate to break it to you, anyone with an IQ of 50 or lower, hell, Jojo the idiot circus boy, could look at what you're claiming here and what you want, okay, and tell you that causes harm. But hey, whatever. You want to hold people's lives in front of them and dangle like a candle. You're a carrot. You're a piece of shit, dude. My mother-in-law, bedbound for multiple sclerosis, turns 80 this month. I have not seen her in a year. But now that we are vaccinated, I'll be on my way there soon to celebrate with her. Dude, bullshit. Bullshit. Okay, I'm guessing, like most men, you don't like your mother-in-law, okay? So shut the fuck up, you virtue-signaling little shitbrick. All right? And I'm guessing you're one of those ones that would go and do your own thing regardless. This is like PR to me. This isn't him actually going and saying, yeah, we should do this. I think he's one of those not for me, but for thee type of people. I really do. All right. Either that or he's a complete and total fucking moron and somehow managed to pass medical school. I mean, now, mind you, there are certain standards at even Caribbean medical schools. Okay. I mean, they're a lot lower, but he could have still passed there. I mean, in theory. I mean, this guy's an idiot. He's basically promoting the idea, all right, with this misconception that we need permission from the government to go about our lives. The government works for the people, okay? The government seeks our permission. At least that's how it's supposed to work, okay? We don't seek the permission of the government. This is why I wanted to cover this, because this is a doctor saying that we need to go and get our papers, follow the bad idea of the Israelis who, like, again, I want to reiterate, no one there was smart enough to go, oh shit, this is the same exact thing the Nazis did to us. Our own government's doing it to us. Holy shit, maybe we should say hell no? You want that here in the U.S., dude? Fuck you. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. Dr. Marc Siegel can go fuck himself. I'm leaving things here.
If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.